Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and with the new expansion coming, standard rotation occurring, there has just been something that's been lingering in the back of my mind, and it's been kind of problematic in two classes. There's this problem I see with two classes going forward next year, and that's Demon Hunter and Rogue. And if you follow me on Twitter, you might already have an idea, and I'll just highlight the two cards on my tweet here, and that is Skull of Gul'dan in Secret Passage. You might ask, what's the problem with these cards? I mean, well, there's multiple answers to that. A lot of people have recognized that these are very broken, very insane cards, and well, it's not even so much the card draw problem I've talked about before, but the fact that these two cards are so ridiculously powerful for both Demon Hunter and Rogue that effectively every single card that is designed for Rogue or released for Rogue or Demon Hunter will be a success or a failure based on these cards, Skull of Gul'dan or Secret Passage. So what do I mean by that? Think about what has happened to the game since Secret Passage has been introduced to Rogue. Think about the archetypes that have been good for Rogue. We've had Weapon Rogue, Combo Rogue, Secret Rogue. Those have been the main three decks that have been very prevalent in standard. And hell, you can look at Wild. What are the decks that have done well there? Kingsbane Rogue and Odd Rogue. What do they all have in common? They all play Secret Passage. They all play very cheap cards, and their sole purpose is to just dump cards. Dump cards by either generating a ridiculous amount of value in a Secret Rogue or a Combo Rogue, or an Aggro Rogue deck where you just throw a burn. In Rogue, unironically right now runs Sinister Strike, which has no interaction other than putting 3 damage to the face. That's literally it. But when you have a card like Secret Passage that draws 4 cards for 1 mana, and you only have that turn to play them, well, you just want to throw a Sinister Strike, because why not? Cards don't mean anything to you when you have a card like Secret Passage, and that is just so incredibly powerful. Don't forget, this used to be 5 cards and is still at 4, basically defines the class, defines every single Rogue deck since its inception. And well, let's take a look at Demon Hunter with Skull of Gul'dan. Well, Skull of Gul'dan has been in Demon Hunter since day one. Originally was 5 mana. Interestingly, both of these cards have been nerfed and are still auto-included. And if you think about all the standard Demon Hunter decks, what do you have? Like Aggro Demon Hunter, Soul Fragment Demon Hunter, OTK Demon Hunter. What do they all have in common? Skull of Gul'dan. And let's look at the Demon Hunter cards. They have some incredible cards. Just browsing through the collection, if you look at Demon Hunter, 7 mana or more. The only 7 mana or more card that has ever seen play in Demon Hunter is Sociologist Militia, because, well, it's an insane effect, yet that card got cut a lot of the time by a lot of players, literally because it could block your Skull of Gul'dan. And that's the thing. Every single Demon Hunter deck is built with Skull of Gul'dan in mind. It is just such an powerful broken effect that you never want to run a card that costs 6 or more, because why would you? It ruins Skull of Gul'dan. So basically the issue with these two cards is they're both so ridiculously good, so ridiculously powerful, that when you're building a Demon Hunter deck, when you're building a Rogue deck, you're not going to want to do anything other than build around these cards. And to me, as someone who likes, you know, seeing different decks, building different decks, it's very kind of boring that you're always going to be facing a Rogue deck that's just going to dump his hand every single game with Secret Passage because it's such a powerful effect, or face a Demon Hunter that's going to cheat an absurd amount of mana with Skull of Gul'dan and maybe kill you out of hand with like an OTK DH strategy or some kind of aggro strategy of just hitting you with a bunch of mana cheat. And typically Blizzard doesn't really love cards that are auto include in decks. They don't like that. They can be okay with that for an expansion cycle. So Skull of Gul'dan and Secret Passage can fall into that. But if you're looking at like all the interesting cards that might come out for Rogue and Demon Hunter throughout the year, if they don't fit into this archetype of Skull, of Secret Passage, they're not going to see realistic competitive play unless, and the caveat on this is, they are so broken in themselves that they power creep Secret Passage or Skull of Gul'dan to the point where you don't want to play those. And do you really want to live in a world where that happens? And that would be quite terrifying, because let's be honest, Secret Passage is one of the best cards ever in the game. It's one of the best cards in Wild, period, right now. And we all know how crazy Wild can be with like Dark Lair, Reno Priest, and all of this. So what am I getting at? What could be done to fix this? I do think that something needs to be done about these cards. I've mentioned balance patch stuff. I haven't asked for nerfs or anything at any point, but I feel like Skull of Gul'dan and Secret Passage, especially throughout the year, have really proved that they're really like just too good, too powerful, and will just make every Demon Hunter and Rogue deck the exact same for the next year? And do we want to go through a full year of those cards being the definition of those class? Like, there's so much other cool stuff you could do with Rogue. Rogue has all this death rattle stuff. You could build a secret deck. It doesn't have to have secret passage. Rogue was very good before secret passage came along. I mean, we had Gul'dan, which was still decent even after its nerf, but became completely irrelevant after secret passage. You have Demon Hunter with all like the big demon stuff, archetypes. Like right now, we're getting this death rattle support for Demon Hunter, but the only like good death rattles are like Coil Thing right now. I mean, we'll probably see some more, but if those death rattles cost, I guess they gotta cost 5 or less or they won't see play. And then again, we're just in a, well, we're gonna play Skull of Gul'dan and cheat out my cheap death rattles, and it's the exact same type of strategy and becomes quite linear, quite boring. So what nerfs or what changes would I suggest to Secret Passage or Skull of Gul'dan? Well, Secret Passage in itself at 1 mana, get 4 cards is just absurd. You could bump it to 2 mana. Hell, you could bump it to 3 and it would probably still be playable. But probably the biggest change and the best change I could think of is that you literally just don't keep any cards that you generate while playing Secret Passage. When you corrupt your Nitro Boost, it doesn't stay in your hand. When you draw Penflinger and put it back in your hand, it doesn't stay back. Basically, any card you generate after your Secret Passage and it goes back to your hand should go back to your deck, and you can only play the cards that you draw and dump them. I think that would make the card a lot more reasonable, or, you know, raise its mana cost, because it's just an absolutely absurd card. Skull of Gul'dan, I thought about it. I'm like, well, if you make the mana sheet on it just 2 mana, then it doesn't really solve a heck of a lot. The aggro decks still basically get all their cards for free. OTKDH still gets Moarg for free. Il'gynoth at 2 is pretty absurd. So I don't know, something along the lines of making it 7 or 8 mana, probably 7 mana, like you compare it to a card like Sprint, 6 mana draw 4, as it's being buffed, right? But Skull of Gul'dan, 7 mana, you would, if you like hit a discount on every single card, you're still netting mana off of it. That's still 9 mana. So I just feel like unless Blizzard's fine, and they might perfectly be fine with it, as you might be as well. Again, this is just my opinion. They might just leave this completely intact, let Rogue and Demon Hunter be defined for the entire year, or maybe they just have some ridiculous power creep in mind that, you know, of course we can't predict. But I just thought this would be an interesting discussion, because these are the 2 like most problematic cards that I see. Like, if you look at every other class, there's typically not auto include cards in any class. Like even Druid, where you have a card as ridiculously good as Overgrowth, I mean, you're not running that in like Token Druid. And Arbor Up is ridiculously good. There's like Guardian Animals decks and other decks that don't run Arbor Up. There are a lot of different deck classes that have multiple archetypes that don't auto include a specific card that defines every single deck. And I think that's healthy. I think that's good. It makes the variety a lot more interesting. It makes it not as frustrating that when you queue into the Rogue, you know you're going to face the exact same strategy every single game, unless you're facing a memester out there, and it feels like those are pretty rare unless you're playing at, you know, lower ranks. And I guess as someone who doesn't do that too much, I don't see that. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Secret Passage and Skull of Gul'dan should be toned down going forward, so the next year of Demon Hunter and Rogue decks can maybe be a little bit more varied, a little bit spicier, or just wait and see what happens? Maybe I'm totally wrong and they're gonna go crazy and there's gonna be some crazy synergies that make you not want to run Secret Passage of Skull of Gul'dan. So let me know in the comments below. It's always an interesting debate to have. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.